everyone, welcome to Simple Motoring. My name is Nez. Now today we're going to do a really fun comparison. We've got the granddaddy of the BMW Z4, and not just any other Z4, it's a Z4M with plenty of rather special modifications. This car belongs to Mr. O2 Slow on Instagram, and I'm going to get his opinion on what he thinks of the new G29 BMW Z4. Andy has had this car for 12 years, literally from day one. I'm really intrigued for you guys to hear what he's actually done to this car, and obviously hear his opinion on the new G29 Z4. So let me introduce you to him and let's get this video started. So guys, please meet Andy, the owner of this beautiful Z4M. So Andy, tell us what you've done to this car.
Okay, so yeah, as you mentioned, I've had it about 12 years. And it started off just out of the box, and I think I put a set of the CSL wheels on it to start with and some lowering springs just to get the look right. The original wheels were a bit too soft. It was a daily driver, but I did a lot of track days in it. So after a short while, I did a lot more modifications on sort of a track nature. So the springs went, and a KW Club Sport coilovers, some AP Racing, brakes all round. Inside, a set of Recaro pole position buckets with Schroth harnesses, custom harness bar. The carbon roof, that was purely aesthetic. It is obviously lighter than the standard panel, but negligible because it's not a huge panel. But I got that from a company in the US that made a completely carbon fibre bodied version actually, and that was a little bit out of my price range, but I thought I'd email them and ask if they sell me a roof on its own, and they did. And that's how it ran for quite a few years, and numerous trips to the Nürburgring and Spa and various track days in the UK as well. And then probably after 8-9 years, a friend was working with Evolve to develop their CSL intake, and he was selling his car on about a year after that and had the prototype for sale basically. He wanted to put his car back to stock, so I quickly snapped that up, and so it's got the CSL intake with an Alpha N tune on it, and then sadly about 2 years ago, and 100,000 miles later, the engine let go at the Nürburgring. Yeah, the big ends went, which is quite a known sort of weak point on these engines. I had planned to sort of get the bottom end off and have a look, but left it a bit too late. So it went up to Jeff Steele Racing, and they did a complete rebuild, and whilst it was all apart, I put some strict cams in there, and when it came back, put it on the rollers, and it's running about 378 brake horsepower now, which is up off the standard 340 odd. So it goes nicely, goes well, and it's about 1400 kilos, so yeah. So I also went up to Hayward and Scott early on and got a catback system. So it's a custom system, really just for noise. It adds probably a handful of brake horsepower, but really it just adds that sense of occasion. And like coupled with the CSL intake around the front, it does sound pretty exotic now.
So guys, I'm about to jump in the Z4M for the very first time and see what this car's like. This car's had a few mods, so I'm really intrigued to see what the granddaddy of the Z4Ms is like. So let's jump in, Vandy, and go for a quick spin. Really looking forward to this one. What? Ooh, air conditioning. Here we go. So guys, we're now in the Z4M with Mr. Andy at O2 Slow on Instagram. Straight away you put your 6-point harnesses. It just reminds you how special and track focused this car is. The cabin is so small.
Yeah, is it a bit closer together, are we, than the other one?
Than the other one, and even the E89, it's really tiny.
I suppose it's older cars for you.
Yeah, old school.
And compact.
Here we go. These M3 engines still sound absolutely epic, don't they?
Yeah. You can't beat naturally aspirated engines. I'm a big fan. Not a big fan of turbo stuff, I'm afraid. But
Yeah.
hence the other car. hence the more recent toys.
The other car, which I go in shortly, eh? This might not be a fair comparison, to be fair. Z4M versus the new twin turbocharged Z4. Woo! Oh, that intake noise as well.
It's their CSL style, so it's a big carbon airbox on it, very much the same as the CSL intake on the M3.
Oh, okay.
And then it does away with things like your MAF airflow sensor and stuff like that, so it's a completely different style of tuning,
right,
to how these came out of the box. It just gives it, it's the biggest difference I noticed when they put it on.
Yeah.
Is the throttle response. I mean, it wasn't bad before, but it's just razor sharp now.
Yeah.
And the pickup, yeah, just, I mean, for a naturally aspirated engine,
it sounds amazing. Sorry, have you timed yourself going around the Nürburgring with this car?
Yeah, I mean, it could go quicker than I take it around there, but I mean, I'm doing sort of low 8s for bridge to gantry, 8:15, 8:13, I think is probably my best. I always keep a bit in reserve there though, because there's just no room for error.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of risk.
I've seen too many accidents in that place to go completely balls out. But in the right hands, it would do. I mean, that's bridge to gantry as well, which is not a full lap.
Yeah.
But it would easily get under 8 minutes in the right hands, I'm sure.
Okay. So do you know what the original lap time was with BMW? Just stop.
I should know, but you're gonna have to.
I'm gonna have to put it up in the video.
You're gonna have to put that one in.
I'm gonna have to do some work in this video, aren't I?
So one of the differences on this as well over the regular Z4 of the same era is that this came with hydraulic steering. So a lot of the regular Z4s came with electric power assisted steering, which just takes away a bit of that feel and feedback that you get through the wheel. But they stuck with hydraulic on the M cars, and this also has a faster steering rack, faster than I think even of the M3 at the time.
Oh, okay,
so
really?
It's a real direct. You get a real quick sort of it's really direct.
Positive feedback,
steering angle. So this is non-standard. It comes with it used to come with the standard M illuminated gear knob, but this is a little aftermarket item from a company called Storm Motorworks.
Okay.
But it's a nice billet. It's quite nicely weighted as well. It feels quite I
love the shape. Yeah, it looks really
good
cool.
throw, and it's a short throw as well. So it's just something to add to the driving experience, really. I think out of the box, these were amazing cars, but I always felt they were a little bit tame. So the addition of like the air intake, the exhaust, obviously the seats were more for track use and to hold you in, but all these little touches just kind of made it more of an occasion, even more of an occasion, I think, than it was originally, just to get in and drive. Yeah, I love it. I've had it 12 years, so
I can tell you love
it. That says it all.
It says it all, absolutely. Wow, it's I'd love to see what this is like around a track. It must be pretty special.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come. You have to come on a track day.
I'm gonna have to come down.
Yeah, there's you usually do a few cheeky sort of brands evenings in the summer.
Oh yeah,
they're nice and easy to get to after work. So
not far away either.
No, exactly. Half an hour down the road. Yeah, come along. We'll take this out.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to come down and see this. You can tell Andy does a lot of European road trips. So you got, is that called a vignette?
Yeah, that's the Swiss vignette.
Swiss vignette.
It allows you to go on the Swiss motorways.
Oh, nice.
There is a little. That's for the French tolls. That little. I've got a little fob for that.
Yeah. See that.
Some track day wear and tear here. From a nice crack in the windscreen that needs replacing.
You can tell this car is properly used.
It gets used. There's no garage queen. That's for sure. It definitely gets used and abused.
I like the word you used earlier, patina.
Yes, it has a track day patina.
It's a Cooper, this one.
Oh yeah, I have joked, and well, I say joked, but I'm deadly serious. I'll be that sort of 70-year-old old boy, and I'll wheel this thing out of its garage, sort of give it a coat of wax, and put it away again, sort of in hopefully a long, well,
Yeah.
34 years time.
Oh. The grip.
Yes.
It feels so responsive, like every little.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I mean,
Even on the bumps, hops.
yeah, you do get a lot of feedback again with the suspension on it. These are KW Club Sports, so they're they're like a KW Variant 3 for anyone who's into their suspension, but
Yeah.
with a linear sort of spring, so they're a bit more track focused. But they ride really well for the roads. It's not uncomfortable, but they definitely make a difference on track.
So what's it like on a long road trip? Does it drone a lot?
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell,
I can tell now.
we're having to raise our voices.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of road noise, which I think is also partly down to the Cup 2 tyres, so they are a noisier tyre. But the seats are relatively comfortable. I mean, considering they're a fixed bucket,
Yeah.
I've done hours in these. I did when that Swiss vignette went up on the windscreen, that was a European Alps trip, and we did sort of 7-8 hour day driving.
Oh wow.
And came out of this, absolutely fine. I guess, don't get me wrong, it's no 8 series.
But they are really comfortable, guys.
Yeah, it's I can do 5 hours to the Nürburgring straight,
Yeah.
and that's no issue.
I can
so-
see that easily.
And yeah, it's a little noisy, but it's not. I don't know. It's
not
not
too
an
bad.
unpleasant noise.
Yeah. That noise is addictive.
Yeah, it's a good sound.
Woo! What a treat! What a treat! Makes me want to go and buy one and do this to it. It's proper special. Yes. So is there anything you don't like about this car? Is there any niggles? Or
I suppose it's only stuff that's come of age. So obviously the infotainment system now is well and truly out of date. The map disc is still 2006. So occasionally, you'll go somewhere and you'll just be in the middle of a field, as far as it's concerned. But it
Yeah.
does the job. I mean, it still gets you to places and what have you. It's do you know what, there's not a lot. It's
Yeah.
got everything. It is a driver's focused car, so it's not something you want to just use. So after I did a lot of the modifications, I got another car for daily use because I was just putting so many miles on this anyway, going to the Nürburgring and back.
Yeah.
But then a few times I would use it to go to the office or something and go around, the M25. And I have to say, I think the last time I used it for about a week, I think I got in on a Friday night after seeing Friday Night Traffic, and I wanted to sell it because it was just it's maybe there's always a compromise, and now it's definitely leaning on that kind of the track side, and it's fine on the open road. It's great on the open road, but sitting in traffic, it's a manual. I've got very used to my luxuries of DSGs and automatic boxes, and it gets a little bit tiring. The brakes get a bit hot and squealy in traffic. So there's little things like that, but I wouldn't change the car for anything. I wouldn't change anything on it because for what I use it for, what I enjoy using it for, it's perfect. It's not the fastest thing out there by any means. There's a lot of. I've got a Golf R, and I think that'll quite easily kind of show it which way to go a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But you don't get anywhere near the involvement from driving the Golf. You have to work to get this to go fast, and you you're rewarded.
Yeah.
You're rewarded for getting it right. You know, when you do a track day, and if you get a fast lap, you nail a fast lap in this thing, and you know that you worked to get that fast lap.
It feels good.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it gets a little bit twitchy when you get near the limit, and it's a bit scary. And you've got to work, like I say, it's a manual box, so you can't just pull a paddle for the next gear.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to keep the car balanced. And yeah, when you get it right, it's fantastic. And I think that's why it stayed with me for so long, because the enjoyment you get from kind of pushing it, it's a challenge, and it's great fun.
Still gives you that buzz.
Yeah.
And I think, guys, it's testament to this car, because Andy's also got some other special cars in the garage. He's got a Lamborghini Performante Hurricane. He's used to have an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. He's now got a Golf R.
Yeah, the Golf R's doing daily duty at the minute, but yeah, the Performante, I mean, that thing is absolutely unreal. And you can take, again, it kind of highlights what I was saying before, because the Performante is just so fast, and you can almost drive that. I mean, there's been a few instances recently out there on social media, but you can drive it with, you know, kid gloves. It'll take you round corners and do things that you think it shouldn't be able to do. But like I say, with this, if you drove this in the same way you drove the Performante, it would spit you off at the next corner. It's but that car is just, I mean, it is leagues above this, but it does kind of serve to highlight sort of some of the things that I love about this car, and the fact that it's, you know, it just gives you so much. It's just so rewarding to go fast in this.
I think I'll have the Z4M over the Aston though. What would you have, guys? Aston Martin DB11 V12 or the Z4M? Let me know in the comment section below.
Be honest.
Be honest. Please.
So that's the other thing about these, I think, as well, is that you just don't see them. I don't ever see another Z4M Coupe, I think, outside of even at the odd car meet. You might occasionally see one, two, but they're not very common. And actually, I'd say I'd never see another one in white. But the reason I bought this in white is that I put a deposit down, and I was nearly going to buy one of these in black.
Really?
It was in ruby black, so it was an individual spec with extended leather, and it was a lovely spec, and it was going for a real deal, because the guy had bought it for his wife. He'd bought an M5, which one was it? The F10, is it? Or the V10?
V10, so that is the E6, was it E60 or something?
Is it something 60?
Yeah.
Is it F60? Whatever.
Yeah.
He bought one of those. He bought his wife a Z4M Coupe, all specced up to the nines. And it was just an amazing deal, and I was like, oh, that's I'll go for that. And then I was driving with a friend of mine. We were going through Wandsworth, and there was this white Z4M, and bear in mind they'd literally been out 2 minutes, and it just pulled out from a Shell petrol station, and I followed it, and we just followed it down the A3, and all I remember saying to my mate afterwards was like, I've got to get one in white. I've just got to get one in white. It just suited. I knew I was going to do track days in it, and it just had that motorsport look. It just suited what I wanted from the car.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one was a little bit too refined. I'd say it was like a ruby black, extended sort of beige leather, and it was lovely, but it just wasn't a track car. Do you know what I mean? It didn't suit the track car look. So yeah, so that's another reason I kept it though, is you just don't see them. It's a real unique car.
They're very rare. Well, Andy, thank you so much for that. That was epic.
No problem.
Now, let's see Andy's honest opinion.
Yes.
On the new Z4. Let's see what he thinks. As you can tell, he loves the Z4M, so his opinion is quite important. So let's hear his thoughts. So there's a real fine arch coming out of this car.
Oh yeah. It has become a bit more, yeah, again, less livable with.
Woo! That was cool. And the GoPros are still on the car.
Yes, we didn't lose.
Woo! Right, Andy, here's the new car.
Yeah.
I'll give you the key.
Oh, okay.
Tell me what you think. Here we go.
Okay. Key's nice.
Key's nice.
It's a bit more up to date than mine.
Got a really good fun comparison. Train just go.
Hey!
Do you know?
I'll just keep rolling.
It's never as easy as you guys.